Hey everyone, today we're talking about soy sauce, one of the oldest condiments in the world. It's like 3 millennia old. We're gonna be talking about light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and what's called thick soy sauce. I got a couple different versions here of that. Before we kind of get into those differences, we're also gonna talk about how soy sauce is made, some of the traditional differences from their origins, Chinese versus Japanese, and also kind of how they're processed. There's the natural processed soy sauce and chemical processed soy sauce. Let me just show you here what light soy sauce looks like, just so you can get an idea. I'm gonna pour out some of the light here on a paper towel. I'm also gonna pour out some of the dark, so you can kind of see what these soy sauces look like next to each other. So there's about 8 like kind of main soy sauces, but we're just discussing these 3 today because they're really the most common ones. So the thing about natural soy sauce versus chemically processed soy sauce is that it's just like it sounds. You can create soy sauce really quickly using a chemical process. It just takes a few days, but it's just really chemicals. Really well-made, naturally processed soy sauce takes a really long time to age and to build those flavors. Okay, so now I'm pouring out some of the thick soy sauce. And I have a second one just because the ones that I'm showing you here, these brands, they're all a little bit different. So I'll explain those differences and what to look for when you're buying your soy sauce. Okay, you can kind of see how this is like a thicker one. It's almost like a gel. The thing about soy sauce, the reason that we even have soy sauce, it just kind of comes down to what salt used to be. So salt used to be an expensive thing. So people always were creating these condiments as trying to find ways to expand salt, like to have more of it around for a longer period of time because it used to be really expensive. And soy sauce is one of those things. Naturally processed soy sauce can take a couple months to almost a couple years to create versus the chemical kind. And that's what's really important. You want that natural kind because that's where you're gonna get that depth of flavor. So I put the different soy sauces here on this paper towel so you can kind of see how they differ. So the light soy sauce, as you can see, because light soy sauce is a little thinner, it really expanded out. It's also lighter in color than the darker soy sauce. The darker soy sauce did not expand as much into the paper towel because it's a little bit of a thicker liquid. It's also obviously darker. Then there's like the double dark, which the reason I have 2 versions of that, sorry, they call it double black on here. The reason I have 2 versions of that, because typically thick soy sauce is what that double black is. It's a thicker sauce. It has more sugar, more molasses, kind of those caramel colors. It's a little bit more viscous. And then a real sort of example of that is this thicker one that I poured at the very, very end, which you can see did not expand into the paper towel at all. It sort of just stayed in place. So those are kind of the differences in what those actual sauces are as far as a physical component goes. So as I mentioned, soy sauces, they have a geographical difference, right? So there's basically 2 that we're kind of worried about. There's Chinese and Japanese. Those are the kind of the 2 styles that we sort of have. Traditionally, Chinese soy sauce didn't use wheat in their sauce at all. These days, it's a little bit more common for Chinese style soy sauces to use wheat in their sauce. And Japanese soy sauce, shoyu, they actually used a roasted wheat. So a little bit of a style difference. But the things that we're focusing on today, the light soy sauce, the dark soy sauce, and the thick soy sauce, these are all Chinese style soy sauces. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's a few different ways to get into how soy sauce is made. We're just gonna kind of talk high level here, and then I'm gonna tell you about the difference in styles. It's coming up, I promise. What it comes down to when you're processing soy sauce, there's the chemical style and the natural style. I've been talking about both of those a lot. So the natural style really comes down to how you handle those different components, the soybeans, the wheat, the water, and the salt, how they're processed and that manufacturing process that they kind of go through to age and create that sauce. Starting out, this is just, like I said, a really high level view. There are definitely nuances depending on the geographical style of the soy sauce that you're making, but typically the soybeans, the wheat, and the water are cooked down into a mash. That's the beginning of making soy sauce. That mash is then mixed in with a fungus, and then that mixture is then taken and mixed with a brine. That's where the salt kind of comes in, mixed with a brine, and that's what's aged. How long the soy sauce is aged is what really affects the outcome, right? So with the light soy sauce, it's not aged as long, and that's why it's a lighter color. With the dark soy sauce, it's aged longer, it has a richer flavor, and that's why it's darker and a lot thicker too. So you can kind of see that when I pour it on the paper towel here. You have the light soy sauce, which really spread out on the paper towel because it's a thinner viscosity. You have the darker one, which obviously is darker as I mentioned in the name, but also does not spread out on the paper towel as much. And that's really how soy sauce is made. So as I mentioned, we are focusing on Chinese soy sauces here. The light, the dark, they call it black here. Just depends on the brand. Each brand's going to probably have their own naming convention, but there's the three basic ones: light, dark, and thick soy sauces. So how are they actually different? I'm not only going to tell you how they're different, I'm also going to tell you how to use them right after this. So light soy sauce really is, like, when you read a recipe and it calls for soy sauce, this is the one that it's asking for. It's the generic all-purpose flour of soy sauces. So you really want to use that when you're reading a recipe if it's calling for soy sauce. It's a reddish brown, it's light in flavor. It's not the same as low sodium or less sodium soy sauce. Light soy sauce, it gets a little confusing, but it's a style. It's not the actual, like, having less salt in there for whatever health reason. So just keep that in mind. Typically you want to use light soy sauce in dips or marinades or dressings. It's just really an all-purpose soy sauce. It's great for that stuff. Dark soy sauce, or in this case black soy sauce, is aged a lot longer, as I mentioned before, but it's also mixed with either a molasses or a caramel. It's a little sweeter, it's a little thicker, it's a little, like, just more robust in those flavors because it's aged longer. So it's a really great soy sauce, but it's not an all-purpose soy sauce. This darker soy sauce, because it's thicker and richer, it's great for stews. It's really wonderful for braising. So if you're cooking in that sort of style, I would recommend using a dark soy sauce, even if the recipe doesn't call for it. The one thing you want to be careful with, you can use it in dressings and you can use it in stir fries. Just use it sparingly in those items. I think it's a really powerful flavor and it can overwhelm. So next we have our thick soy sauce. As you can just kind of even see here in the bottle, it doesn't move around a whole lot. As I showed you on the paper towel, it's almost like a gel. That thicker soy sauce has more sugar and wheat in the fermentation process, and therefore is a lot thicker. Sometimes thickening agents can be added to it also. So if you have like any sort of gluten-free issue or anything like that, you might want to just make sure you read the label if you are buying a thicker soy sauce. Thicker soy sauces are great for dips. They're also, if you can't find a thicker soy sauce and the recipe calls for it, you can actually substitute oyster sauce as sort of the same thing as a thick soy sauce. Okay, so here's the thing. How to store these items, right? So basically you kind of store them all the same way, no matter which sauce you're dealing with. If it's an unopened bottle, it'll last for up to a couple years past the best by date. So you can store it in the pantry, wherever you want to store it. You want to store it in a cool, dark place. But here's the kicker. Once it's open, it's a completely different story. You can store soy sauce in the pantry once it's opened. It's totally safe to do so. The important part is cool, dark, dry place, like I mentioned before. But the thing that matters is it's gonna actually go bad faster. So once you open it, if you store it in the pantry, have it open, like this. Once you store it in the pantry, it's only gonna last about 6 months past the best by date. But if you store the soy sauce in the fridge, it'll actually last up to a year past the best by date once open. So I recommend putting it in the fridge. It'll last a lot longer, and then you don't have to worry about the environment. It's in the perfect space to last and keep for quite a long time. So that's the differences between light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and thick soy sauce. I hope this was helpful. Let me know. If there's something that you want to see, drop a comment down below. If you like to cook like I do, I release new recipes every single week. And hey, you know what? If this is your first time viewing, please subscribe. See you guys next time.